Your ability to think, it literally determines the entire outcome of your life. But here's the thing. Most of us were never actually taught how to think, only what to think. So in this explainer, we're going to dive into a framework that can seriously upgrade your mental operating system. We're calling it 5D thinking.
And this question, man, it just cuts right to the heart of a paradox we all see every single day. Brilliant, super intelligent people making absolutely terrible decisions. It's what we call the smart but dumb problem, where a high IQ offers you zero protection from obvious, costly traps.
Okay, so to really get a handle on what genius-level thinking is, we've got to start by understanding what it's not. We need to learn how to spot and, more importantly, how to avoid the patterns of what's often called stupid thinking.
And really, the core difference boils down to this. Stupid thinking, that's when you slam the door shut on new information the second you hit a limit. Genius thinking, on the other hand, is all about intentionally keeping that door propped open, especially when an idea feels threatening to what you already think you know.
And these are the classic traps, right? You see it everywhere. Like one-dimensional thinking, where you try to jam every single problem into your one personal perspective. Or reductionism, where some expert tries to reduce every issue down to their single area of expertise. It's this rigid, tribal way of looking at the world that just completely shuts down any real thought.
So here's the crucial point, and it's a big one. This has nothing to do with IQ. It's all about a flawed process. It's that moment your mind hits a wall. And that wall is usually an idea you identify with. And instead of pushing through, it just defaults to some pre-programmed response. And that's where all insight goes to die.
All right, so now that we know what not to do, let's start actually building our model of strategic thinking. We're going to begin with the first three dimensions: width, depth, and height.
And Einstein just sets the stage perfectly here. To solve really complex problems, you can't just think harder. You have to think on a completely different level. And these dimensions, they're the framework for doing exactly that.
So the first dimension is what we call width. I want you to think of this kind of like a video game. You're putting experience points into a specific skill, let's say marketing. The more points you get, the wider your knowledge becomes in that one single line. This is all about horizontal growth. Next up, we've got the second dimension, depth. Now this is all about vertical development. See, it's not about how much you know, it's about how you think about what you know. It's all about the quality and the sophistication of your mental software, not just how much data it can hold.
And this right here, this illustrates that journey up the ladder perfectly. We all start at an instinctual level, right? Then we move to a conformist, just follow the rules stage. From there, if we're lucky, we become individualists who build our own models. But real mastery, that comes at the synthesis and generative levels, where you can actually hold contradictions in your mind and create brand new perspectives. And isn't it interesting how most public debate today seems totally stuck somewhere between levels 2 and 3?
Okay, so the third dimension, altitude, is where we bring it all together. Just think of it as your overall cognitive reach. It's not just how deep you can go in one single area, but how high you can see across all of your areas of knowledge. It's really the ultimate measure of cognitive flexibility.
The best way I've found to visualize this is as a skill tree from a video game. To unlock a really high-level skill in one area, you often need to have developed foundational skills in completely different areas first. And this is exactly why generalists, the polymaths, they often have this massive advantage.
Okay, so once you've got a handle on width, depth, and altitude, you're ready for the next level. This is where we learn how to look at any issue from 4 totally distinct fundamental perspectives all at once.
The framework itself is actually super simple, but it's incredibly powerful. The basic idea is that any event, any problem, has an internal and an external component, for both the individual person and for the group.
So this simple grid you're seeing here breaks it all down. We've got an inner world and an outer world, for both us as individuals and for the collective. On the inside, you've got our individual psychology and our collective culture. And on the outside, you've got our individual behavior and the larger systems we all live in. A truly complete analysis has to look at all 4 of these quadrants.
Okay, let's make this practical. So you take a vague problem like, the world is becoming so corrupt. Instead of just stopping there, this framework forces you to ask much, much better questions. You go from just a simple complaint to a multifaceted investigation, looking at culture, systems, your own psychology, and your own actions. And now we get to the final piece, the dimension that really ties everything together. This is what elevates your thinking to a truly strategic, even predictive level. we're finally adding the crucial element of time.
This quote from Krishnamurti, it's such a challenge for us to step outside of our current moment, isn't it? To be a strategic thinker, you can't just accept the present as normal. You have to have a historical perspective to really judge the health of the system you're actually in.
And here's the key, right? 5D thinking is not about memorizing dates and names from a history book. It's about seeing the deep, underlying patterns of how things change over time, how individuals evolve, how societies evolve, how ideas evolve, and then applying that deep understanding to what's happening right now.
And the master pattern of all evolution, really, is this idea of transcend and include. Think about it. A sentence transcends words, but it has to include them to exist. Life transcends matter, but it's built upon it. Each new level of complexity absolutely depends on the health of the levels beneath it.
I mean, you can see this pattern playing out all through human history. New technology allows for new social structures. The hoe led to villages, the plow made empires possible, machines gave us nation-states. So that leads to the really big question for any of us trying to think this way today. With AI right at our doorstep, what new structure is emerging right now?
So we've built this entire five-dimensional model of thinking. But I've got to tell you, none of it matters. Literally none of it. If you can't get past the one single obstacle that stops almost everyone dead in their tracks. And that obstacle is identity. See, the second you fuse an idea with who you are, I am a Republican, I am a capitalist, I am an artist, you've just lost the ability to think clearly about it. Because now an attack on the idea becomes a personal attack on you. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most crucial point of all. Genius-level thinking demands intellectual freedom. It requires you to hold your beliefs like tools, not like tattoos. So the most important question for you right now isn't what new thing you're going to learn. It's what you're willing to let go of. What idea will you stop identifying with so that you can truly begin to think?